I am here today with a new episode of Nerd Table. If you don't know what this is, well, I basically explained it in my previous episode in Spider-Man, where it's going to be a podcast type esque with a few of my buddies talking about, in general, superheroes like Marvel, DC, Star Wars, just any franchise, any superhero, whatever. And today we're going to be talking about the MCU, how we started off with comics, then how they got implemented on the big screen, what we love about the MCU, what we generally don't like about the MCU, and our favorite superheroes. And introduce yourself, guys.
Hey, I'm Matthew.
Alright, nice talking to you. I'm Yoel. Nice to meet you.
We established that you were going first, Yoel.
Oh, I didn't pay attention, but hi.
That's why I wasn't saying anything.
Alright. It's okay. So who wants to start off first about the...
Hold on, I have yet to say who I am.
Okay.
Well, you're not important. So since the host, started off the introduction, I feel like the host, should start off the little story.
Okay. So we're gonna start off. Everyone's gonna start off with how they got in to superheroes in general, like the genre.
Okay.
For me, I'm gonna be honest with you. It actually started with Star Wars. It's just I was watching a VHS. This is during the time when VHS was a thing. If you kids don't know what that is, I suggest you look that up.
It's on YouTube.
Like you're any older than most of the generation now.
So what? We had a little movie of Star Wars. I think it was Return of the Jedi. I'm presuming. And we were watching. Yeah, we were watching it on the VHS. And I always thought to myself, man, the way that they care for, I don't know how to explain it. The way that they care for to help people and all of this stuff, it really intrigued me. So then I got in. I was going through the thrift store and I saw a Spider-Man figure, and I always wanted to know who Spider-Man was because his costume actually kind of looked pretty cool. Let's be honest. And I realized he was part of Marvel, and then this big company had so many superheroes, and I was like, whoa, what is this? This is so fantastic. And I just basically went through that. Then I got some comics. I liked the comics. And yeah, I got into superheroes just like that. Cool. Now, Matthew?
Very wholesome.
I guess the first time, I gotta go way back, almost 20. It would probably have to be the DC animated universe with the Batman animated series, and then probably the Spider-Man animated series, the early 90s one. That's when I first wanted to, climb walls and fly and,
got your little toys when you bought them at the stores.
Anytime, yeah, for sure. I was like, no, throw him up and see if he flies. But yeah, that's when it all started, and then I got to Barnes and Noble, and I was like, oh, what's this? And my first comic, I won't lie, it was actually a Superman comic about his Action Comics days, his first one. And I was like, oh, this guy can jump really far, and he's really strong. And ever since then, it just started developing all these stories and characters and the complexity of each character. And that's why I love the heroes today. It's truly awesome.
That's the most beautiful thing I ever heard in my life.
Wayne, beautiful.
Enough to make a girl.
I'm literally just tearing up listening to that. It's too beautiful. All right, you all?
Alright, yeah, I feel like for most people, obviously the animated series is what got most of us, I believe, into it. For me, it was the original Spider-Man animated series. Obviously when that's basically what I grew up mostly on. before when I used to live back in Puerto Rico, like me and my family were all like in close proximity of each other. So like I'd walk over to my cousin's house. They'd always have like the cartoons up on the little TV, and we would just watch. It was always the Spider-Man animated series, or there was an old Fantastic Four animated series that I also remember. Not very much of.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking
So
about.
I grew up mainly on that, and then obviously Spider-Man was like my like first favorite hero. So like I love the guy to death. I always, had like either some T-shirt of him, some action figure. I always had something. I would run around with like the little city string web shooters, those little city string filled web shooters.
Yo, yes.
I would always like run around with them, just start throwing them everywhere.
My
Obviously,
mom
parents
threw
were
this
pissed off.
away. My mom threw this
Oh
away
yeah.
because I had kept on stringing the fish tank.
For obvious reasons, those toys did not last long. Parents immediately got sick of me. But it's whatever. They have to deal with what they get. And yeah, and then now as I grew older and I started to learn more about how big like the comic book universe actually is.
Yeah.
It's when I started like admiring it more, like all these different like heroes, all these different universes that are that exist, all these like different ways of just like enjoying a hero. And that's like the main thing that I like, the fact that it's not, you can enjoy one hero, but that one hero can also have crossovers with another person, and at the same time you can enjoy them, and as you enjoy them you get into them, you start getting curious, like, oh, for example, Wolverine, who's he? And you start, reading up more about Wolverine. Then you discover the X-Men, and it's just a bigger universe that you just, become a part of than just, the Spider-Man that you originally just loved.
Yeah.
And it's great, Yeah, that's my story.
My story won't be as long as everybody's, because just like Angels, it's basically the same thing. What happened to him happened to me, with the VHS, Star Wars, that's pretty much it. Because, we all saw Luke Skywalker, kick ass and everything. You're like, wow, it's amazing. That's pretty much what started everything for me. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
We grew up. I feel like we grew up in a good time. The early stages of most comics, but not like so early. It was like the middle ground between old generation and new generation. So
Yeah.
like, as we were growing up, we got to experience obviously like the origins of most of these like iconic heroes and villains, and at the same time, we got to learn about the new things now. Like obviously, how the comic book universes, they have like the rebirths, or like the what's it called? They
Flashpoint.
It's like when they like the whole universe is like different. I forget what it's called.
Multiverse theory.
Yeah, like there's always like a different universe, multiverse, or they like renew the series completely by adding new quirks to like heroes and stuff, just making it not only new but like have that old feeling. So I feel like we grew up in a good time to experience all of these like awesome things.
Yeah,
I couldn't have said it better myself. That was beautiful.
Like, we grew up at a time where superheroes were realistically only popular and on the pages. Before really the big cinematic part came in. Before even the Raimi Spider-Man. Even before them. I mean, yes, there was other movies prior, but they never really were that big, so we were grateful, I guess, to be part of the older fashion, and then being old enough to be within these newer times and be able to understand and respect these new current movies within how they can adapt into the comics, or whether they take their own interpretation, and it's perfect.
That's true. But let's be honest, back then, comics were a big thing back then, but like they weren't actually that much appreciated. A bunch of what is it? Adults, journalists. They mostly call people who read comics basically just sweaty nerds, fat people. Like they weren't that much, appreciated. But nowadays, it's like it's a really, really huge thing. We come a long way.
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
It's mainstream now, it's like huge in the pop culture. You can't walk around anywhere without knowing who Tony Stark is or Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Superman. Nobody can say.
Obviously, yeah, like you all said before, like it wasn't that much of a big thing before, you know, like maybe like I remember before Spider-Man was basically like the big hero. You know, Spider-Man was like, oh yeah, everybody knows Spider-Man. But then
Dude, who doesn't?
things like
Oh,
you know
yeah.
Iron Man and probably you know Thor and Hulk were not as popular. You know, they have their following, but I feel
They were
like
just
it
going for the
wasn't.
Avengers.
Yeah, it wasn't until recently when like most people it became a household name basically. You know?
Correct.
Yeah. I think we lost the element of surprise.
Honestly, yeah, I agree. So now we're gonna talk about our favorite superheroes. Don't worry,
Oh man, dude.
don't worry. You can have more than one. You can't just have one, because it'll just seem
Okay.
unfair.
Well, are we talking about comics, superheroes? Or are we talking about, you know, MCU, DC?
You know what? Yeah, we should do that. We should start off with comics, like out of your favorite heroes in comics, and then we go from the big screen.
So Marvel.
All right, Matthew, you go. Oh wait, no, Angel, you go first.
You know, I'll let everyone go first, and then I'll say mine.
All right,
Okay.
Matt, go right ahead.
Oh god. Where do I start? Just to clarify again, we're only doing Marvel or we're doing both? 'Cause we're doing both.
I
You
mean,
can do
heroes
both. Why
in
not
general.
just be like, what's your favorite hero
Oh,
period
great.
or like heroes?
Now it's an even bigger list. Okay, great. Alright. Well,
It would take like 3 hours to finish it.
oh dude, no way, for sure.
They got the whole
no,
podcast just for him.
I'll Alright, no, yeah, for real. Okay, so I'll just. This is in no order. Definitely no order, but Batman. Batman.
Oh yeah,
These guys.
come on.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm
pretty
sorry.
much everybody.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
There's just a thing about his character and like he's more than a mask. That's the thing. Everybody, I don't care what anybody else says. He is a superhero. He does things that nobody else can. He does things that nobody ever thinks. This guy, a tragic life, which a lot of superheroes have a tragic life, but none of them realistically go through with it and continue to process it and still maintain this such a popularity. He was created in 1939, only 1 year after Superman, and yet he is still on everybody's top 5 list.
Facts.
And then second, Superman. If Superman's not on anybody's list, they're lying. Superman is the one that started it all,
Of course.
and not 'cause
Nobody.
he- No, yeah, it's true, and not because he started it all. He's a symbol. There's a difference between being a hero and being a symbol. This guy is a symbol. He inspires hope. He inspires truth and justice. This guy, Superman, is everybody's ideal of being the perfect person that we try to strive towards to be. I mean, there's no other way of saying that Superman is the superhero of the times. Secondly, for me, it would be Captain America, and I'll tell you instantly. Captain America was not my favorite while reading the comics because I did not respect him. I was like, oh, it's a guy with a frisbee, so what? But after the MCU, after showing, okay, this guy has character development, and then going back into the comics and saying, yeah, this guy is not just this guy in a frisbee. This guy is a leader. This guy shows the utmost respect towards anybody and stands his ground no matter who tells him to stop. He's fought individuals from a regular guy on the street to Thanos himself, and he has not flinched. And he will be on anybody's side.
True American way.
No, and he doesn't even fight for America. He fights for the people. He understands because he was an immigrant, so he understands the struggle it is. But he does not let that overtake him, and he decides to be the leader. That is the leader of the Avengers. I mean, those are my top 3. I can't really go into any more specifics because then I'll just like you guys said, it'll be an hour and a half video just on
His
me.
top 3 are just 2 DC heroes than one Marvel hero. So that shows, you know, a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to go next goes next, because if I
You go ahead, man.
continue talking, I won't stop.
I won't stop.
I
Go ahead,
won't.
y'all.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like most people, yeah, it's like it's real hard because obviously I'm a big fan of both universes, DC, Marvel, and also other things, you know, like Star Wars and like things like Transformers and like this big universe of just awesome characters. Like, oh, they're all like a bunch of different heroes in their own ways, and you know, it's something that you just appreciate, and it's hard to like decide, hey, which one of all these, you know, at the end is my favorite. But of ones that I'll say, like, I guess have stuck with me through most of it, like I said, growing up, Spider-Man was number one. Spider-Man has always been like, you know, that one relatable character, you know, teen in high school, you know, gets bullied a lot, you know, what happens next? He gets bit by a radioactive spider, gets all these powers, and he fights to protect people, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, I think.
Bro, amen.
Amen, dog. And, you know, that's something I feel like most people can relate to, because he doesn't abuse his power. He knows he has it, he knows he's big and strong now. But, you know, he fights for the little guy. You know, sometimes the Avengers, like, you know, have done missions where, like, they needed Peter. But he's like, no, I have to stay and protect the people here. And, you know, it's just
Spider-Man.
something you admire. It's like, yeah, he fights for us, you know, the regular folks who, you know, need protecting. And, you know, I love that. I admire that. And that's, you know, that's like the main thing for most heroes for me. I like those type of street level heroes, you know, people who fight and protect the people who, you know, need it the most. That's why I'm a big fan of like other heroes like Daredevil, you know, and like his group, Luke
Oh,
Cage, and
Daredevil's a good one.
Defenders. I also love people like Moon Knight. Not, you know, Moon Knight's not a person who's that well known, but he's similar to Batman in a way, and he'll, you know, he'll fight and protect, you know, everybody, you know, in the city. He's similar to Batman, but if I'm not wrong, he doesn't mind killing. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that.
So like he'll do whatever, you know, needs to be done to avenge whoever needs it the most, and I admire that. That's why again I love street level heroes. And yeah, so that's basically my end. You know, I love all these street level heroes because they just love defending the people who need it most, and I admire that the most.
Good job, Yoel. Nice.
That's fantastic.
For me, yeah, Matthew. Yeah, man, you guys say everything that I want to say.
It's okay, you
go
can have your
first
own little
next
spin on it.
You go
I can't
first
say
next time.
anything. Yeah, I'm gonna go first.
You go first.
Yeah, Batman, Superman, Matthew's right. They're my top. They're like top two already because Superman. Everybody wants to be like him. He's the goody two shoes. Like, you know, he's the guy that everyone strives to be. He's hope. He's literally hope, and that's what I like the most about Superman. And Matthew's right about Batman. You know what he does and everything. And then for Spider-Man, I think he's top 4. I don't know who my third person is, but yeah, I do love the fact how like the Avengers, they always go on like, you know, big level threats and everything, and they're always asking Spider-Man, hey, we need your help, whatever. Like, no. That's I gotta be right here, and that always admired me. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's the
God
thing
damn it,
about
man! You
heroes,
guys.
you know?
Oh yeah, no, Spider-Man's literally always like, if I go out and help you guys, who's gonna help here and save the earth?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta stay here while you guys
That's
go
the
out
main
there.
reason why I'm a big fan of like this. You know, I love being a nerd. You know, but there's always somebody you can look up to. You know, like I know some people like they look at these heroes and like that's who I want to be. You know, that's how I envision myself, and I want to be that other person, the person who looks out for the little guy, or the person who's always there to help people out, no matter, you know, the situation.
And it
That's
changes
why I
you,
love
too.
that there's such a big universe and a big roster of people to choose from that you can admire and just look up to.
Anybody can relate.
Yeah.
There's not one person on the planet that can say, I don't relate to anybody within these universes.
Well, I could definitely relate to Superman. You know, being an alien and all.
Yeah, I can fly.
Yeah. All right, Angel. Haven't heard from you.
All right, so well,
Hoorah.
He was waiting for us to stop talking. I'm so sorry.
He's like, you guys took all the lines.
well, you're not wrong. You guys did take the heroes that I like. But I'm gonna just go with one, like that I really really love. Everyone already has said it, and of course it's going to be Spider-Man.
Web
Spider-Man is always such a big part in everyone's history. He does have some ups and downs, but he always finds a way to literally get back into the spotlight. But Spider-Man's more than just a person that wants to be in the spotlight. He's just a guy that really, really wants to help the little guys. He's everyone's favorite friendly neighborhood hero. And everyone relates to him. He's just a kid in school that wants to do right by things. He can't talk to the girl that he likes because he's just shy like the most of us. And now when he picks up the confidence and along the way and he gets the girl, he knows what he wants to do. He wants to help the people of New York City, and he's just so relatable because a lot of people want to help people, but they just don't know how to do it. But then sometimes there are some parts in the comics where Spider-Man doesn't have his powers, but somehow he still finds a way to help people in a very big way, and that teaches people that you don't really need powers to help people, and Spider-Man taught him that. And like it's just Spider-Man is such a big like improvement, or how do you say it, like a big symbol to our society. And when it comes to like the good meaning of good, it's just
Responsibility.
yeah, and responsibility too. So yeah, honestly, Spider-Man's just my all-time favorite hero at the moment. But I know I said one, but DC is. Everyone said everything. DC is going to be Batman and Superman.
Like I said, there's just so much to pick from in the end. It's real hard to like bring it down to just the one.
Right.
Like
'cause if
obviously, yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But yeah, like if I were to break it down, I would be here for 5 hours, and I still wouldn't have an answer because everybody has a different connection with a hero. I could love Hal Jordan, and somebody would be like, "Well, I don't relate to him," so I prefer more of the type of Orion. I prefer the type of Miles Morales. I prefer the type of Thor. But everybody has a different. Beautiful how a lot of people at times like us, there's just some heroes that stick out more than others, and it's not because of their powers, it's not because of their love, it's just hell. It's not because they fight the best bad guys. It's because they stand for something that all of us can accept, that all of us can believe in, whether they're fictional to others or not. They stand for something that we can be above everybody else that pushes us down. Like,
Facts. Let me get some snaps.
it's fact.
Snaps.
Drop that mic right there, man.
Honestly, could not have said better ourselves. Everyone right now just said like the best thing ever. It's just we really enjoy superheroes, and that's honestly the main reason why I wanted to make this podcast type thing. Because when we're at school, or like when we're talking to each other like outside of school, I always thought like, why don't we just bring this to the internet? Like we share people what we think about heroes and how much they mean to us, and this is just a big step.
Yeah, we talked about this every day. There was not one day I cannot recall where no superhero was mentioned, where no topic was mentioned.
Hell, like for example, we could be watching a movie that's not even remotely involved with superheroes, and then by the end of that conversation, we just go back to the heroes.
Correct.
There's always something nice to go back to, Like, obviously, the comic book universes are always expanding. Right now, I know they're doing a bunch of new things with DC.
Oh yeah.
With the whole, what is it, like the whole DC metal part, like they're expanding on that. And then, like, the Watchmen, ever since, like, they were recently introduced with the latest storyline, there's always something new. and it's always just you always had to talk about it and make you always like to theorize. Oh, what's gonna happen next? Is this gonna happen? Blah 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 blah. Blah. That's why it's such a good thing to just have a topic or conversation on because it's always fun.
Yeah.
100%.
So, I'm guessing now we go on to our MCU heroes?
Yes. Now the big part of our podcast. The MCU is just a big phenomenon.
Cinematic.
Everyone loves it. No one
Well-
can. Well, yeah. Let's not go too far. Not everyone loves it, but it's so well known that, like you all said, you can't even go outside without anyone mentioning it.
Right.
All right.
Or seeing
So.
sticker.
So we're gonna talk about our favorite movies through
Oh,
the phases: phase 1, phase 2, and then phase 3. But first, we're gonna actually talk about our favorite superheroes in the MCU now.
yeah. And, Miguel goes first, so we don't take any of these.
Okay, yeah. Let me explain myself. Okay. Well, crap. I wasn't expecting to actually go first. Let's see. I mean, originally, my favorite MCU character would be Iron Man. Actually, I mean, Iron Man 1 instantly. You guys, if you fell in love with Iron Man, you just have to. But I mean, he's so a snarky asshole and everything. And then slowly throughout the MCU, I was like, he wasn't that big on me anymore. But when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, Star-Lord, instantly my favorite character. Because, okay, back then, before Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, I'm pretty sure barely anybody knew about the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, they were like,
Nobody knew who they were.
yeah, they were the back. They were all the way in the back of the Marvel zone. So when the movie came out, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I don't know that much about these characters. I'm gonna find out more about them. And when I saw the movie afterwards, I really wanted to see it again because of how they portrayed Gamora, how they portrayed Rocket especially, and Star-Lord. And then that made me want to go get some Guardians of the Galaxy books and everything, and I just really like Star-Lord, the Guardians of the Galaxy in general, their whole team. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I love them.
Nice.
The
right.
legendary outlaw.
All right. So who wants to go next after Miguel? After that amazing speech.
Wanna go, Matt?
Oh god. Okay.
Another 3 hours.
No, seriously. Like, I have to take this mic off. Okay. Alright. Especially you three. You guys know I'm a huge Captain America boy, man.
Huge.
Dude, Chris Evans' portrayal of this character has changed me personally. And dude, it's awesome. Like, he starts off as this little guy. Like, he can't even do anything. He can't even breathe correctly because he has asthma. And he was chosen for a program that anybody else in the military should have gotten. But he was chosen not because of his strength, not because... Oh my god. He was chosen due to the fact that he had a heart. He was chosen because, like how Dr. Abraham Erskine says, the strong man who have no power all his life will lose respect for that power. So the weak man will know the value of strength and knows compassion. And the most beautiful line, I think, one of the most beautiful lines in the MCU is when he says, oh shoot, I'm tearing up right now. Anyway, when he says, you have to promise me after tomorrow that you'll say who you are. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man. And after that line, Steve Rogers has been the best example within the MCU, in my personal opinion, to be a hero that stands for what he desires and knows what's good for the people, whether they like it or not. I mean, hello, he was worthy to pick up Mjolnir. I mean, I think that just clears enough that this guy doesn't need all these special weapons, these special serum. It's his heart that wins. And the line that everybody makes fun of, especially in Endgame, but I could do this all day. It's a corny line, but it just says so much to his character. Especially when he stands up to Thanos in Endgame and his army's coming up, and what does he do? He's injured. He gets up. He gets up no matter what. That alone tells you how his character arc is just amazing. And then let me just switch this off to Iron Man. Me personally, I've never gotten interested in Iron Man until the MCU.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but Robert Downey Jr. portrayed him in a way where I hate when he's being an ass, but I love it.
Can't help but love it.
No, it's true, and his dynamic is just beautiful. When he starts off as Iron Man, he's just this playboy, billionaire, philanthropist. Then he continues on the MCU, becomes more responsible, tries to help out. And at the end, he does a self-sacrifice that nobody was expecting, really.
I definitely wasn't expecting it in Endgame. Without a doubt.
I thought it would be Captain America that would do it, because, I mean, he's always the one that is willing to take the bullet, but when Iron Man knew what he had to do, he did not hesitate. And that was awesome. And I'll just end it with Thor. I mean, Thor has gotten a rap for his movies, the only really good one being Thor Ragnarok. But if you look closely, Thor 1 revolves, it's the opposite of Captain America the First Avenger. The line that I just stated, I'm not going to say it again because it's too long, and I don't want to waste time, but he mirrors Steve Rogers in the sense that he abuses his power and doesn't appreciate it until the point where he gets to where the power gets taken away and he's on Earth. To the point where he has to understand that it's not just the power that gives you the status, it's you that gives you your own status. And he understands the sacrifice of what it takes to being the perfect man, the perfect God of Thunder, if you want to call it. And it's just beautiful because then he understands the meaning of being worthy of Mjolnir. And it's just beautiful. His arc has really changed. And especially in the comics. I mean, I always loved Thor with his brutality, but after the MCU, I just love him for who he is. Whoever wants to go next goes next, so I don't keep talking.
It's all good, my guy. But I'll go. Since the MCU, it's hard. If I had to tell you my favorite, I'd say Doctor Strange. I'm a big fan of him and the movie that Doctor Strange was just amazing. But the MCU in itself, talking about the MCU a little bit, really, I feel like it changed. It just changed a lot of people, because obviously going back to what we said before, most of these characters are people that not a lot of people heard about. And when it was first introduced into the big screen, I can only imagine that's when people started actually developing these just attraction to these characters and loving them and coming back to them more and more and more. And I don't know, there's no real reason, it's not, I can't say man, Cap helped him in some way. I just am a big fan of Doctor Strange. The first time, obviously, I knew about him beforehand. I read a lot of the old comics and all that, and obviously I knew he was a character that was in there. But it's not like I had, that attraction towards him, it was for me with Spidey and any other character. But just him and the way he was used in the movie, and I don't know, it just made me love the guy. I already loved his actor already, regardless, and just him in the movie, it was just different. We're so used to seeing gods and regular people in there, and you just have this guy, master of the mystic arts. Just comes in. At first, he didn't want to be this or have this responsibility, but then when he saw how important his role is to, the planet, the universe.
Right.
He, said, you know what, it's okay. I know I wanted to be a surgeon. I wanted to continue with my medicine route. But this is something, that I should put more of my time into. This is the fate of the whole universe. And I love that. He went from this like snarky, arrogant guy to still being a little snarky and arrogant to in the end, valuing the little things. He would just do surgeries based on the person or importance or whatever it may have been. And then, the minute the accident happened, changed his whole life. He had a wake up call. He saw, what, this isn't how I should be viewing the world or viewing things. So seeing that change in him, I made me like him a lot more. Made me, really want to learn more about the Doctor. That's when, I started like collecting, more figures from him or more comics, that have him in it or just talk about him or whatever it may be. I just started like reading up and catching up and, understanding the guy more. And it's just, it's so good.
Yeah,
Like
No,
the
it's
ancient
just-
once said, there's more than one way to save a life.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Angel. You got it. You got the mic.
Oh
Good job,
man. All right. Well, that was actually pretty fantastic, you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna be a come a surprise to you guys. One,
Nick Fury.
because
It's
Uh,
Nick Fury.
it's Nick Fury. I hated Captain America. Like,
Okay.
I absolutely thought he was just a terrible character to watch. But when
The whole time he's just gonna be talking bad about Captain America. Like, I hated Captain America
Yeah, that hurt.
so much.
No, but I hated him too, so I understand where Angel's going. I understand.
So I decided to, just try to give the character a chance. So by what movie is it? By The Winter Soldier, I decided, you know what, maybe I've been too harsh on this character. Everyone seems to like him, not because it's just Chris Evans, even though, let's be honest, that's probably one of the reasons. But I decided to watch one of his movies, watch The Avengers again, and even though Spider-Man is in the MCU, I'm gonna have to say Captain America is my favorite hero, even though I hated him. One, because he kind of gives people the confidence. I'm talking about obviously the MCU version of Captain America.
Right,
he-
right, yeah.
He kind of gives people the confidence to like always stand up. Like, even though you get pushed down, you can do this all day. Just don't give up. Just continue. If you believe what you're doing is right, just continue doing it. Like what he did with Thanos. Everyone that he knew was just beaten to death. They could not get up, and he was about to fight an entire army alone. Even though, let's be honest, that wasn't gonna work out. But
Yo, what a great scene.
still, he managed to just say, "Fuck it, let me just do this." And yeah, he just it's basically the confidence that he told everyone to get up on. So yeah, Captain America is my favorite hero in the MCU so far.
Okay.
Nice. Team Cap.
Yeah, no, the MCU is just, I feel like it's, I don't know, just like the introduction it had, obviously, like, yeah, Tony with Iron Man 1 was like, the beginning of like the MCU and all that. But even like before that, like other movies, like, the original Hulk movie, the Raimi trilogy. I believe the Fantastic Four movie came out way before all this, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the last one.
Like those original movies, yeah, they had their flaws, but I feel like they deserve some credit also to kind of for basically like helping bring these characters kind of basically into the
100%.
mainstream media, like the original Raimi trilogy, amazing. I love everything about it. It was a movie I would always remember rewatching a lot with like my little brother and like the fam because I just loved it. The original Fantastic Four movie, the first one at least, was really nice. It was fun. I loved like everything Doctor Doom. The one with the Silver Surfer and then Galactus, it was iffy, but it was just great because I knew it was a superhero movie.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. When I was little, I never had that like thought of how if a movie is good or bad. I just knew this is something I enjoy, something I like, I love it. That's why I don't have a problem with like the Fantastic Four movie, even though obviously it wasn't the best. I still loved it as a kid. And then like the Hulk movie, obviously not. It was really good, but it had a little bit of its own flaws. Also, it was just good because I just love the fact, as a kid, like these big action scenes, explosions, all that catches your eye, and you just you tend not to like double think, hey, this happened, so I didn't like it. You're like, yo, the Hulk just beat Abomination and just
I want to be the
tossed him.
Hulk.
I want to be Hulk. I want to go big and green and
Well,
just beat.
you need. I want to share a story right now. After when we saw the Incredible Hulk,
Dude.
dude, when
Yeah.
me and Miguel and Main Street, well, after when we saw that movie, the entire time, when my mom, every time when we're done finishing a movie, my mom always says that she needs to use the bathroom. So so we're just in the theater, in the auditorium, and me and Miguel are just trying to break things as Hulk and Abomination, because that fight scene, oh man.
It pumps you up. It pumps you up.
Dude, it just makes you feel. It just makes you feel like, yeah, I can do that.
Let me tell you,
I-
if you never leave an auditorium after a superhero movie not wanting to be the superhero, did not have a good childhood.
The only thing I can
Like-
say for that is Infinity War.
Like,
Oh,
what is
oh,
it? This would be funny. This is a funny thing I want to point out because of what Matthew said. This isn't a superhero movie, but after the end of Jurassic World, me and my brother were pretending to be velociraptors just going around, and it was so funny.
Blue.
Those type of movies just do that to a person. It brings out the child in us. We grew up watching these things as kids, and now as we grow older, we just can't help but like squeal like little kids, like, oh my god, it's Iron Man, oh my god, it's Spider-Man, oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker. It's just you see these things now as like adult, and you're like, damn, dude, like my childhood was great. I grew up with these people, and look at them now. Look at them. They're being introduced to like the new generation in new ways that we, didn't see them, and it's just fun.
Right. And to the audience, there's nothing wrong with being the inner child that you were.
Of course
There's
not.
nothing
That
wrong
makes
with
the movies and experience way more enjoyable.
Yes.
The fact that like, oh, as a kid, you grew up on this, and now as an adult, you get to see it and like understand it better because you've read the comics now and all that, and it's different. It feels different, but it's a good kind of different,
Yeah.
Like I remember Star Wars. That's something that when I like first saw it, I was like, wait, the Force, lightsabers, this is different. What is this? This is cool. Were there comics before the movies? Was that a thing? I'm not 100% sure about that. Like, were Star Wars comics a thing before the movies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's something that never was in my radar. Like the Star Wars like comics or like anything about Star Wars was like not in my radar. And then when the movies came out, it just showed me a whole new world, and like it made me want to own lightsabers. It made me want to like have the Force and be able to like manipulate the Force and like just use the Force. The same thing with like the Transformer movies. Obviously, I knew about Transformers. I grew up with their toys and watching the animated cartoons, plural. There was a whole bunch of them. And then the movies came out, just pure action, and it was fan-fucking-tastic. Just these type of
Genres.
like this genre of like shows or like books or whatever, just all that. It's so fun because there's always something you can look forward to. Because obviously comparing, like for example, I could really like again, we're big fans of comic books, and let's say what else is there besides these heroes? Oh, have you heard of Transformers? A bunch of like giant robot aliens that just have a different storytelling. And in Star Wars, you have multiple like planets and multiple timelines and multiple people you can come to love and appreciate. And it's just so much fun.
You're beautiful. Everything you just said.
You're breathtaking. Thank
You're breathtaking.
It's good. We grew
Alright.
up in a great time, and I'm glad to have been able to do that because now with my little brother, like I get to introduce him to these things and be like, hey, look, this character, this so and so character, I remember watching him. I think around your age, or like for example, I remember when he was like really young. Like him and I would have like little like role playing things where like we'd be superheroes. I'd be, for example, Spider-Man, and he'd be some other hero, and we'd play like that, or we'd make up our own heroes. I remember that was a big thing in my childhood. Kindergarten, preschool, whatever time that was, I was always drawing comics. I remember always wanting to make a comic. I remember wanting to just like make my own heroes, be my own hero. So I feel like that really helped me as I grew up, because it also influenced my taste in video games too, because I love like these single player story games that like have a similar vibe to like these heroes, and just like I feel like learning about them just opened up my eyes to like a whole so many new things, and it was just it's so good. I'm glad to have been able to like experience all of this.
Amen.
Amen.
But I know most of you. I know Angel. I remember you loved drawing comics. But did you guys ever do that? Like draw your own little comics or like pretend?
Oh my god, every
I
single
also draw
time.
comics.
I feel like not one of us or anybody has never imagined, what if I had a superpower? What if I had the power of flight or super strength, speed,
Like,
whatever it
like
may
what if
be?
we had the power of Spider-Man? You know?
Yeah, what if
Just
he
like
had?
swinging around.
What if he was, have like his brains and just like make your own little web shooter? So like have his strength, have all that. It's just something that you look forward to or like excites you. Even now, like I feel like not like a lot of
I
like
still
people
do
that
that.
are grown up are like, dude, what if like I had this power? What if I had so and so power? What if I had so and so ability or so and so thing? Like it's so much fun.
No, and to that statement, yeah, I mean, I still dream about having powers to this day, but I always put myself in, like, if I were to have Superman's powers, I always say, will I still be the inspiration he is? If I have Spider-Man's, I'm like, will I still represent the people, or will I just be arrogant and not really, and just do my own thing?
Yeah.
You realize it when you try to live in your fantasy world. You realize if you try to be like the heroes, there's a ton of responsibility. There's a ton of
for sure.
weight on your shoulders.
Because I feel like most people, they want a power just because they feel it'll make life a little bit more easier. But then you have to, imagine also, if I have Superman's abilities, would I use this power for my own good, for other people's, own good? Would I help out if people need it, or will I just sit on the sidelines and just watch,
No, yeah, definitely.
Alright,
So,
guys, so we're gonna, since now we gave that 6-hour explanation on our favorite superheroes and movies,
Sorry about that.
we are now gonna talk about Phase 1 of the MCU.
The little baby.
We're gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna start off first. Phase 1 obviously did start it all, but it's not as great as people say it is.
I second that. I really do
Honest,
second that.
it basically only started with the Avengers, and how that movie broke so much money in the box office. It's not even funny. But after the Avengers, everything went really well for Marvel, even though there are a few disgusting, awful movies that came out. Thor: The Dark World. And
Yeah, I
it's
tried.
they tried, but God,
After Winter Soldier, they destroyed the box office.
yeah. After Winter Soldier, every single movie that they made, if it wasn't on the box office, there was something terribly wrong.
That's the thing, like, and that's the MCU. They're huge. I like just like the MC universe itself. It's huge. Most, if not almost all movies broke some box, office record. Like for either breaking the most views or the most amount of like money earned in just the first week. There was always something. You would always hear Marvel on the news, like, oh, Marvel broke so and so record.
And it's not a cinema masterpiece.
Yeah.
Some people just don't know class.
So we're gonna go talking about our favorite movies from each phase now. Obviously, talking about the phase though, but since we talked about phase one, it did start it off, but it's not as great. Obviously, the other phases are better than this one. So now we're gonna say, what Matthew?
No, I was gonna say the best things about the phase one realistically is the introduction to each of the main characters.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. They did that so well.
I second that as well.
Now
Why
we're
the
gonna
Avengers?
now we're gonna say our favorite movies in phase one. Who wants to start off?
I will start off with, out of doubt, Matthew knows this. I'm pretty sure Angel knows this. I don't know if I told you all this. Favorite movie from phase one will always be The Incredible Hulk.
I was gonna say mine, but I don't have to anymore.
Dude, that movie's just pure adrenaline. Every bit of that. Okay, so some parts of that movie, sure, they're pretty boring. Get to the point, we get it. Sad crap, whatever.
Science.
Science stuff. But when it's not that, and it's actually fun, and you're in the movie, oh man, I just want more of it. Especially like the last 30 minutes of the movie, you just want more and more and more. I can't stress it enough. I love The Incredible Hulk. A lot of people don't, so I'm one of the few people that really do love it. I consider that Incredible Hulk. I mean, sure, it's the same Hulk throughout the whole MCU, but
Is it though?
I
Is it
like.
though?
Is it though?
I mean, that's what Kevin Feige says, but I mean,
It's our Hulk. That is our Hulk.
that's, dude, that should have been the definitive Hulk, pure rage Hulk, not the stuff that we got throughout, but
Dab.
I just wanted to say that.
All
So
right.
who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'm gonna be honest with you. Phase one, like Matt said, it was just full of introductions. It was pure introduction. We had Cap, Thor, again Hulk, and Iron Man. And the end, we had the first Avengers movie. It was all introductions to a big group that would come to make multiple movies in the future, and we just would come to adore and love more. And to be fairly honest, I really, I just loved. Obviously, the first Iron Man movie when I first saw it in theaters, as a child, blew my mind.
Saw it opening night.
Fantastic film, my guy. Opening night, it was beautiful. Just the fact, a character. I also, like I said, since I grew up mainly like on the animated shows back then, I watched Iron Man's first show. His first animated series, and then seeing him in the big screen, Robert Downey Jr. playing him the CGI and all that, just watching him make his first suit of armor when he was trapped in a cave, and just seeing how he changed. That was like a very like traumatic experience event, and it just made him change and just wanted to be a hero. He wanted to help out now, and I really also did appreciate the first Thor movie. Not gonna lie,
No,
I just am a big fan of like
Just gonna let them take it.
different religions. So like stuff like Nordic stuff, Roman gods and stuff, like all these like different like gods. Super interesting, and just learning about Loki, learning about Thor, and then I don't know, it was a really good movie. Obviously, I'll still prefer Iron Man over it in my opinion, just because I knew more of Iron Man than I did of Thor, and just I grew up with him. But even so, those two movies I feel like were like my two favorites from the first phase.
Nice.
Okay. Now, Matthew, your turn. We all know who it is.
And the Avengers.
Oh, okay. Wow, you caught me off guard.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously, yes, Captain America: The First Avenger. Well, as a kid, without a doubt, it was the Avengers. Still is today. Due to the fact that it's the first. I don't care what anybody else says. The X-Men franchise did it first. Nobody really was like, "Yay, the X-Men," when they came together as a team. But when the Avengers did their 360 shot for the first time, bet your ass the whole theater was rolling and thundering and clapping. And why?
Dude, chills, even right now, chills.
Yeah, and why do we still get chills? It's because it's a memorable moment for comic fans to see. Yes, we finally see this team who, within the first few movies, were slowly having their individual movies. Iron Man was sort of hinting of a Captain America reference. Especially Incredible Hulk has a lot of Thor and Captain America references. And then Iron Man 2 brought in War Machine, Black Widow, and Thor brought in the Cosmos. It was a great film. Captain America: The First Avenger is one of my favorites, only because of Steve Rogers and his ideals. But yes, the Avengers is my favorite because they was able to incorporate all of those characters, all their stories, and make it work to the point that the Avengers is still one of the greatest movies in the MCU, and it probably will still be one of their greatest because they were able to incorporate everything from the past movies into this one and make it work in a way that nobody could have thought it would work.
That's why the MCU always like surprises me when they come up with something new, because they always hint back at like old things, or like the movies themselves hint at future stuff that you may have not like picked up at your first watching. But if you give it like a second chance, look at it again, like you notice, hey, there was a reference to so and so here. Does that mean we may see more of this person in the future or not?
Right. Yeah, that's my take on Phase 1. Gotta say.
All right. That was our Phase 1 talk. It was great. Like we said, it was just the introduction of the movies, of the heroes. But now it's time for the actual stories that we want. And that is in Phase 2. Except Thor: The Dark World. We don't talk about that film. So we're not going to mention that film at all. Anyone want to start for who their favorite film is? What's their favorite film in Phase 2?
Yeah, for me it's Thor: The Dark World.
Oh, 100% agree.
Amazing masterpiece. I don't know why it's always being in
Best in the
that.
series.
Best movie, obviously. We had such memorable moments and amazing.
We had such memorable moments as
such
hold
memorable
on.
moments that I can't even bring it up
Remember.
because it brings me in awe.
Yeah, I want to ask an actual serious question. What's the one memorable moment from that movie? I can't remember any.
Hold on,
Honestly, there's only one moment in that movie that I will always be sad. It is Frigger's death, Thor's mom's death.
Oh, that of course.
All right, that happened. In that
You
movie.
you made that funny. Matthew, it would be memorable to me, but you made that funny.
The only thing, to be honest, that movie, not something I remember. The only thing I do remember was like when they introduced the Aether Stone, or what was it that they called it?
Yeah, it was like a fluid. It was a stone, but it
It was the liquid. I know they had a different name. Obviously, I don't think it was. Oh no, it was the Aether.
Yeah, it was
My
the
bad.
Aether, but
I
Reality
said the
Stone.
Aether Stone. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Reality Stone. When they introduced the Aether, and at the end when Thor and
no, yeah.
what's his name?
Volstagg?
The Dark Elf. What's his name?
Oh,
Oh,
Malekith.
Malekith.
When Malekith.
He's such a memorable
remember
villain, man. Adrian
Yeah.
always talks about him.
I don't remember Malekith at all. And then at the end, what I always found weird was when Thor just had to leave this girl,
Jane
Jade.
Foster.
Jane Foster. I don't remember much of Foster, to be honest with you. Just from the first movies, all I remember. I don't know what the hell she did in the second. All I know is she found the doctor who everybody thought was crazy, and they did. No, wait, did that happen in that movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't recall anything from that movie. I'm gonna be 100%.
The best moment in that movie was the post-credit scene when they give the ether to the collector, and
Yes, dude, and
he
that's-
whispers, "1 down, 5 to go."
I feel
When
like
that happens-
that's the kicking starting point. Well, obviously, like the first Avengers film
Well, it had
was when it kicked. Yeah, when it like showed, hey, we have more people, not just on Earth, by the way, that you're gonna be seeing. Like when I saw the Collector, obviously I didn't know who the Collector
Nobody
was.
knew who he was.
Nobody. I was like, who the hell is this man? What role does he play? And then, we got introduced to our lovable, crew of misfits, the freaking Guardians.
The outlaw.
The Outlaws, my guy. Who doesn't love them? They're just different. They bring a breath of fresh air, I believe. What I feel like. Because, we have the Avengers, that's like the first group. The Avengers, they fought to save the Earth, super serious, whatever. And the Guardians, they're just a bunch of playful, playful people. Yeah, a bunch of misfits. They'll help you, but what's the price?
At a price.
That's why I really love them, because they're not like the Avengers. They're different. They're so much fun. Like the Phase 2 is just so different from the original Phase. It's less serious, in my opinion. It's more fun. It's fun, a bunch of fun things. Obviously, they have their serious moments, but it was fun because Phase 3. We had Iron Man 3. It's okay.
Phase 2.
Was it Phase 2?
Yeah, it was the first movie that's to start in Phase 2.
Oh, my bad. I thought of it wrong. But
Okay.
we have things like Ant-Man and the Guardians in this phase. Different, it's different. And I really did enjoy them too, to be honest with you. For my boys.
Wait, I forgot. What was your favorite movie? And
Oh, I didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything like favorite movie.
I
That's
wanna
why was
say-
waiting.
I do
I thought it
want to
was
say,
Guardians.
it's Guardians. I really did
Okay,
like
okay.
the Guardians. I don't know, because again, it's different. It's not like a serious movie. There's a bunch of fun people, and it's just like the Avengers, but not, it's not like, there's not a lot to lose, It's like, we defeated Ronin. Now let's just explore the universe and see who we could, rip off their money. And if we don't like it, we may steal their stuff. That's a maybe.
See, for me, it would still be Guardians, but there's a movie from Phase 2 that slowly kept itching its way back into my mind. And every time I saw it or saw a bit of it, I was like, man, this movie is perfect.
it's Thor: The Dark World, right?
course.
No.
Oh, just
I'm
me.
pretty sure Matthew knows what this movie is.
Captain
Thor:
America,
The
Winter
Dark
Soldier.
World.
Captain
Right, yeah,
America,
Captain
the
America.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Dude. Look, at first, I'm gonna be honest. Like Angel for Captain America, I did not like the first Captain America movie. Then I watched it a little bit. I was like, dude, that's a pure hero movie. That's pure
Yeah.
hero.
I remember when we rewatched for Endgame. It was a pure hero
Mhm.
movie. You said it.
Yeah, I was like saying at first I didn't like it, then after I was like, dude, this movie's pure hero, pure
It
hero.
was
The
it
hero
was
is-
pure action. It was action.
Because look, here's the thing
So
with me. Here's the thing with me with Captain America. This was what I meant by rewatched. I rewatched this movie and the Winter Soldier. No. I watched the Winter Soldier and I watched the first Avenger because I personally did not like the first two movies because of how incredibly serious this character was. And like every time someone would bring up a joke, it always stuck in my mind that this character would be like, "Hey, can you shut the fuck up? We're trying to be serious here." And so it kind of annoyed me in a way. But then I realized that's his character in the comics, and they're also bringing it up in the movies too. So I guess I should have not been too hard on Captain America. That's why he's now my favorite because I understand where he's coming from. But for me, my favorite movie is going to be. It's not going to be Thor: The Dark World. It's not going to be Iron Man 3. It's either Guardians of the Galaxy or Age of Ultron. Now, blasphemy, because I like Age of
No.
Ultron. But it's even though they got Ultron wrong, they clearly did. But you cannot deny that at least they had the balls to actually put Ultron on the big screen. I remember when I was in 8th grade, me and Miguel were in 8th grade, we were in this school, and it was just this event, and they had to put on YouTube, right? So I was like, oh great, we're gonna watch a Spanish video. I wasn't that excited about it. But literally the first thing, and I mean the first thing that popped up on that screen, like it was a big white screen, like where the barometer, where the thing
Right.
would be at. The first thing that popped up was Marvel's Avengers Age of Ultron teaser trailer. You should have saw me. I just screamed out loud. My teachers, everyone in the cafeteria was just wondering why was they screaming. And I didn't even
wrong
say
with you?
anything. I just pointed at the screen. Because if you don't know, Ultron is actually one of my favorite villains. Mainly because of Heroes of Tomorrow. If you kids don't know what that is, or I can't say kids, if you guys don't know what that is, I will not, and I mean I will not say anything about it. If I were you, search that up yourself. Watch the movie, watch it, and you will fall in love with Ultron so well, so badly. And then you see why they kind of screwed them up in Age of Ultron. But honestly, the movie was great throughout. There's some memorable lines with Captain America, Bruce Banner even too, and with Ultron, especially where he's like saying, "Thor, you're bothering me," and the fact that he went for Thor, it's just, yeah, I gotta say, Age of Ultron is probably my favorite movie out of Phase 2. Blasphemy again. I like Age of Ultron, but yeah, that's my take. Did we all say what our favorite movies were?
Negative.
Yep.
Did you not go, Matthew?
No, I did not.
Okay. Oh right,
Alright.
we know what this is.
No, it's not that. Because I don't want the comments to go, oh, it's a Captain America lover. It's not. Winter Soldier is 1 out of 3. Like it's literally 3 out of 23 movies that are completely different. The style is different. But yes, I really do like that movie a lot. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Obviously, everybody said it's a different taste, yet it's enjoyable. If nobody left the theater saying, it was okay, it wasn't that great, then come on, watch it again. But if I have a favorite, I mean, I don't know. It's just so hard to have a favorite within so many different genres, but I will say I do love Winter Soldier a lot. I'll have to say that only because of how they were able to make it dark yet inspiring, if you want to call it that. Because that movie first shows Captain America slowly distrusting the government, and it leads the way to Civil War. And just like Age of Ultron 2, Age of Ultron has one of the best lines also within Phase 2, with him and Captain America chopping the wood.
Oh, right. Every time someone tries to win the war.
Before it starts, every single people die. Every time. I love that because you see Tony wants to solve a solution without looking at the prior consequences. And that's why that's why he said before he created Ultron, I don't want a City Hall debate. I don't want to hear that metal is not the metal medley. I see a suit of armor around the world. And you obviously know, once he said that, Captain America would not agree to this. But he did it anyway. And once that the topic comes in, Tony Stark, man, obviously one of his great performances in the MCU. He tells Steve, isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight, so we get to go home? And knowing that Steve doesn't really have a home anymore after the events of obviously him being in the ice, but he still stands for what he stands. He rips the log, looks at Tony, says, every time we're trying to win a war before it starts, and his people die. Every time. And that shows what happens within the specific movies. Infinity War and Endgame, you will see the character development of these two, especially in Civil War. You can see how they drift apart. But I mean, yeah, Winter Soldier is my favorite, but Age of Ultron has the best when it comes to putting the pieces together for the next phase.
Yeah.
I second that.
And sorry if I cut anybody off, but that's when we saw Thor's vision of the gauntlet with the stones. That was a good vision.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can continue. Whoever's next.
I agree with you, Matthew, with the whole Phase 2 thing. It's Phase 2 was just basically now after Phase 1, it was just the introductions to our favorite heroes. Yeah, it was the bridge.
Phase 1 introduction, Phase 2 is the bridge, and Phase 3
is now the Holy Grail, the end goal. Anyway,
Yep.
Because let's be honest, Phase 3 is the one that brought the MCU popularity really, really high. In Phase 2, people didn't recognize it.
All the Phase 3, obviously, box office breakers. All of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty much every single one of them.
Oh yeah, there's not one I can't remember that made over $1 billion.
For Phase 2...
Wait, did Captain Marvel reach?
Yeah, it reached $1 billion.
Yeah, it did.
But it took a bit. If I'm
Yeah,
not
it took
wrong.
a bit.
And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll mention that. Now, this is the one I'm excited about.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that I remember us in high school would always theorize what's gonna happen,
Non-stop.
especially when it got close to like the Infinity War era
Yeah.
and like ongoing to Endgame. I remember we would analyze the trailers. We would give our own theories. Like we remember when Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Adam Warlock was mentioned. Obviously, we never saw Adam Warlock, sadly, but it was mentioned, and we were like, "Yo, Adam's gonna kick Thanos' ass in the movie."
And he never
I
did.
remember that.
Never happened,
Never did.
sadly. But dude, those were such fun times. The theorizings we did, amazing. I loved everything about that.
I think that's what made Phase 3 a very big moment with us, because we were all connecting. It wasn't like the prior phases where we were all separate, yet we still appreciated the stories. But when Phase 3 came in, dude, we were every day coming in. Yo, did you see the trailer? What about that clip? Wait, but remember the previous movie? This happened. So does this mean, dude? Connecting the dots, and then when they, it's crazy. When we were wrong, we were like, that was better than what I theorized.
Yeah, I was like, way better than what we could have thought of.
Now, let's be honest, yeah. Phase 3 brought up the MCU popularity, but every single movie has its own taste. But for Phase 3, we're gonna do something a little different. Let's be honest, we should specifically talk about Avengers Infinity War.
Of course, yeah. Obviously, we can quickly mention other things like Civil War. It was great because that brought
Well,
the division of the group, and then Guardians of the Galaxy 2. What was it?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor
Right?
Doctor
Is
Strange.
Doctor Strange?
Yes, yes,
No,
in Phase
yeah,
3.
Thor Ragnarok, a masterpiece. Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Doctor Strange, Civil War, Black Panther. What else? Am I missing something else?
Look,
Spider-Man. No, that was that's also there.
the two Spider-Man movies, yeah.
The two
There's a
Spider-Man
lot of
movies.
movies in Phase 3.
Phase 3 brought a lot of just good, memorable movies that led up to the last two, Infinity War and Endgame.
What?
Infinity War, I feel like that's where everybody.
Infinity War, it's probably
Oh,
to me.
bro.
I'm gonna say my favorite movie right now. Infinity War is my favorite movie ever, in all phases. I know Endgame came out and that was like the Patriots Day. Everyone was so excited about
Yeah.
this, but it's mainly because
It had a lot of emotion. 'cause
someone
obviously,
spoiled.
You know what happened.
Someone
Oh,
spoiled
that's
Endgame for me. So and they didn't spoil
That was a
Infinity
big
War.
thing. If you spoiled, you'd get beat up. Or like, I remember that's like that was like a everybody was unified on that. Nobody can spoil this movie.
No, Angel, Miguel, and I, when we started watching, well, we didn't start, our first movie was Thor Ragnarok, but even before that, we were like, dude, we have to watch the opening weekend. No
That's when I
later.
started doing it too. That's when I started
later.
like getting into opening day movies.
Because, dude, especially for Infinity War and Endgame, if you watch that movie, even on a Saturday, you had spoiled some way, somehow.
Yeah, dude, I remember like back when we were in high school.
We
that
hid
first
it
period-
away from everyone when Infinity War was a thing.
Dude,
we
but I remember when those movies came out, first period class, everybody was already pre-ordering their tickets. It was just like a group thing. Everybody wanted to see it opening day because nobody
it's
wanted
mainly, let's be honest here, it's mainly because of its trailer.
to. It was such a good trailer. Dude, I remember.
was a really good
I
trailer.
remember that's the one we analyzed the most. Because remember like the ending scene where it was Cap, Widow, Black Panther, and the Hulk all
Oh
running.
right,
you know,
and that
scene?
never happened.
Never happened. A lot of things never happened, but we appreciate it regardless. I remember we would analyze, like, wait, I think Matthew or Miguel or somebody else, like,
Said-
way in the distance when it was, like, when the Black Panther and, like, the tribe and all of them were, like, running towards, like, the army of Chitauri.
Yeah, that was me.
Those guys, you're like, wait, is that Hawkeye in the back? Or, like, I remember some people,
What,
like,
what if you
mention-
guys said it was Batman? I'm gonna lie, that was actually a pretty good theory. I was hoping that Batman was there, but no, continue.
Fuck
Wait, no,
you.
yeah, I mentioned, I'm like, isn't that Captain America?
I remember you're like, wait, that haircut, that's Flint's haircut. Clint haircut.
Yeah.
We would analyze every small detail of that trailer over and over again until the movie came out.
The hype for Infinity War was just insane. That when that trailer came out, that was the one thing everyone wouldn't shut up about, and I
Dude,
was
it
happy
broke
about that.
Number one so fast. It was number one on YouTube so fast, my guy. The first few hours, it got like over I don't know how many millions of views, and then as the hours kept on passing, it just exceeded that.
Everyone, there was a bunch of assholes in our group, in a way, I'll say, that when
Yeah.
Infinity War came out, me, Miguel, Matthew too, and I'm not sure you already saw it, right? On
What?
on Thursday. Well, me and Matthew and Miguel saw it on Friday.
What?
Infinity War.
You saw Infinity War.
Oh, Infinity War? I think I saw it like a day after or like the day of. Endgame was the one that I did see earlier. I saw it a day before.
Because when Infinity War was a thing, all of us, me, Matthew, and Miguel, we went to our teacher named Miss Varela. We went to her class. She's a sweetheart. She was also a fan just like us, and we explained the situation to her. Like, we ran inside when lunch started. We were like, we need your classroom to hide away from everyone. We don't want to get spoiled. Please.
She understood it.
She understood. And what was more scarier is that our friends were actually looking for us.
Yeah, they were trying to spoil it.
Yeah, they were actually
Oh.
trying to spoil the movie. So every time when they came in, I will just at least be right next to my teacher, so then if someone spoiled it for me, she'll get spoiled, and then
She
she'll
gets
have
spoiled.
to, and then she'll have to
Yeah.
get mad at that student.
Back to Infinity War. I remember Angel Miguel and I we were going on a field trip, and we were like, okay, today's the day, so we would refresh YouTube and then.
Oh my
I
God,
remember
we
that day.
refreshed
We were
it
on
so
separate
many
buses.
times.
All of you guys were together, and I got a message from Matthew. The trailer is here, or like something along those lines. I got a message from the other bus, and then when we all met up, we geeked out.
Yeah,
we
because
were
we
all
all
just
want.
like
I
talking,
remember
what the fuck?
and play it over and over, and then we're like, he has a beard, and then ooh, Hulkbuster, and wait, where's Iron Man? He's with the Guardians.
Dude, that was so good. There were so many theories and stuff. It was such a great time. And then the day of the movie itself, that broke a lot of people. Nobody was expecting the endings. And the fact that we had to wait that long for the other part to get our answers it hurt really bad, dude. I don't know about y'all, but I did shed a lot of tears for
Oh, dude,
everybody.
You should have seen Angel. Like, it was understandable. Like, dude, it was like when you saw Loki, I was like, oh, dude, no, come on. Within 5 minutes, and not
Dude, that
even
opening scene, dog, that hurt.
You should have seen Angel in my face when the logo came up.
Yeah, we were
like,
so excited. We're like, yeah, let's do this. And then out of nowhere, it's like, the Asgardians, we need help.
Let's
We're like,
go.
what
And I'm
the
like, what?
fuck happened?
dude, and then
It's-
oh god,
It's fun because like you're so used to like a fun little opening,
yeah.
and then like I remember vividly the opening was like super like ominous, quiet,
Aw,
and then
Thanos-
like that, yeah, and then it's just Thanos, and then he just killed Loki first. Obviously, besides all the Asgardians that died and
But
everybody
he was
else,
the first main character.
the first main character, and I gasped. I was like, "Oh, so this is what." I
Oh, so
have to
this is what
brace
this movie's
myself
gonna
for."
be.
Dude, and then after that, character after character after character. Heimdall hurt too, dude. Everybody hurt me, my guy.
And then I love the little references, like especially with well, there's one with when Tony Stark is with Doctor Strange, and he talks about it's Steve Rogers, and then Bruce is like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Oh, we broke up." What do you mean you broke up? And he's like,
Like the
"And we
Beatles?
never- we-
Like the
Yeah.
Beatles.
and we didn't know if Thor survived or not." So then Bruce was like, "Thor's gone. There's nobody else. There's no one else you can talk to right now." And we were like, I was like, "Holy crap! Is Thor really gone? He can't be gone. I saw him in the trailer. Like what?" But
Dude,
And
I
then the
did
ending-
love that movie too, because then everybody just found themselves, you know. Thor with the Guardians, and then you know, Cap went to Wakanda with all these other people. Tony
the
and
Guardians.
Spidey and Doctor Strange ended up in space and just fought. It was so good, bringing everybody together, and it was great, you know. And then obviously the ending, where the infamous snap happened.
And before we talk about the snap and before we talk about other great moments, let's just appreciate how badass they made Thanos in this movie.
Dude, he was hyped up for so long.
And he earned the hype.
No
He
one.
was-
Let's be honest. Not that many people knew who Thanos was until they had to read the comic.
Unless you grew up watching the animated Avengers show.
Unless you grew up watching the animated and also read the comics.
I remember after with Thor Ragnarok when he was fighting Hulk and when he goes into that Ragnarok mode or Odin Force mode.
Yeah.
I literally said, "Oh, he's gonna whoop Thanos." He has
Nah.
that, dude. The first 5 minutes, it just shows him choking
On the
his own
ground.
blood. Choking on his own blood. And I'm like, and then Hulk's out. And I'm like, dude, whoa, he took out two of the.
Now,
strongest
if it was the 2018 Hulk, let's be honest.
2008 Hulk.
Dude, that made me like the fact that he made Hulk get scared of even coming out shows a lot of how, you know, how scared he made A Hulk, the Hulk, he made the Hulk scared. It was good. And then now, anything else you got want to add? Anything else?
Oh no, yeah, I'll talk about Steve Rogers for a minute,
Okay.
because there was a line that everybody in the theater was like, "Ooh." He was with and when he goes to the Avengers facility,
Oh right, it was with
with General Ross.
yeah.
He goes, dude, when he said this line, the whole theater was like, "Whoa." He goes, "Oh man, dude." When he said this, I don't remember one person going that was not going, "Ooh." He goes, "Earth just lost her best defender. We're here to fight. If you want to stand in our way, we'll fight you too."
Yeah.
Oh God, when he said that part, the whole entire theater, ooh. But then again, with when Thanos arrives on Earth, the rest of the Avengers, the first battalion being Doctor Strange, Tony, and the Guardians, they lost. Then when it goes to Earth, meaning one stone was left, they try to give it all they got, and let me tell you, Thanos walked over them.
Dude, he walked like he owned the place.
Dude, he walked in going, "I'm not here to fight. I already fought like 5 seconds ago. I'm gonna get what I want, and that's it." And then with Wanda, man, with him and Vision, with her and Vision, and she's just trying to destroy it, but she doesn't want to. And the
Yeah, that hurt.
No, it hurt. I never knew I'd get her over a robot, but Vision,
An android.
Vision was Vision. And then I gotta tell you, I mean, it might be a great moment, but when he hit Captain America the first time, I was like, nah, come on, really? But then when he slid under him and he started hitting him in the knees, and then uppercut, I was like, oh god.
I remember we had theories about, does Cap have a stone? Because
Yeah,
like
there was
his
a theory
eyes
about
were
it.
shining.
Yeah, there was a
stuff.
theory that he had the Soul Stone in his eye in that trailer because
That he
how
was-
orange it looked.
Right,
It was
but-
crazy, just what the stuff that we came up with.
But when he held the gauntlet, everybody. And then, dude, when he punches him, I was like, did they just kill my character? What is this? And then obviously, Vision blows up. But then, as soon as you hear no time at all, yo, Thanos just uses the time stone to bring back Vision. Everybody.
I love the theory that there was that like everybody in that moment was dead, but they only got brought back to life because Thanos reversed time.
Yeah, that was a good theory. I'm not gonna like that. That gives the scene a little bit more intensity.
It's just crazy though, because I mean, if you look at Endgame, I mean, even they were fighting Thanos, but they didn't die from that. But yeah, I mean, Thanos at that point was like, let me just wipe these guys out with Power Stone, all that. But and then I'll tell you, the biggest no in cinematic history was from your boy Angel Menendez.
Oh, right. Let me say this, okay?
Okay.
Because like,
Go ahead and say it.
because like I was enjoying the movie throughout. Obviously, there are some really intense scenes. So then I was just like, before the movie even started, all of us had a theory is that, so how are they gonna end the movie? Are they gonna end it with just a scene of a hand going up and then snap, or the screen turns black and then snap? But no, it's just, oh man. So when Thor comes in with Stormbreaker, everyone
thought
was
he
going,
won.
yeah, everyone thought that they were gonna win. Everyone was going crazy. We were like, yes, here we go. And then I don't know, just Thanos just like, you should have aimed for the head. Right when he did the snap, everyone was quiet. I was literally the only one in the theater just screamed, no! And oh man, that tells you how intense I was and pumped for that scene. I was in it. But then,
And then go ahead. No,
Death.
go ahead.
and then death happened.
No, but as soon as the screen turned white, it showed Thanos. You know, probably I think in the Soul Stone. I don't know, because he was talking to his daughter. But I was like, what happened? No, 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 come on, what happened? What happened? And then when you hear him Thor's voice, what did you do? What did you do? And then he teleports out, and Cap's like, where'd he go? Thor, where'd he go? And then Steve turns to the right. If you know that they're gonna get dusted, you did not expect how they were gonna show them getting dusted. And when they showed them getting dusted, it hurt. Like I'm like, dude, Bucky's gone.
Well, yeah.
Black Panther's
I'm gonna be honest with you. Just Phase 3 was just fantastic. It was throughout everything about it was completely enjoyable. But
Yeah.
I think it's time to end this. Do you guys want to say what's your favorite movie in Phase 3, and then we'll end it right there?
Infinity War, hands down.
Infinity War. Okay, what about you, Miguel?
Iron Man 3.
Okay, I heard it.
I don't know. You guys probably are gonna like this. I know everybody would say Infinity War, but I kind of like Doctor Strange.
All right. Now, what about
Hold on. Let me think really quick. Yeah, you go. Then let me think if I'm certain about Doctor Strange. But yeah, go.
Nah, the same for me. It's Doctor Strange. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Because if it's not that, I would say
Infinity War.
Ragnarok.
Okay, well.
No,
they
it's just
different?
different. It's just different from like the regular, things. It's fun. It's lighthearted.
All right. Now, Miguel, hurry up with your Doctor Strange. What did you say?
I don't know. Can I just pick two? Doctor Strange and Infinity War? Because
Yeah.
I can't really decide.
Yeah, you can just pick two. It's all right.
Yeah, Doctor Strange and Infinity War, not Endgame, because we'll leave that for a different
Yeah.
time.
You know what? We'll leave Endgame for a different episode.
Endgame will be a different video because that movie, I mean, it's not greater than Infinity War, but it sure hell is not less.
Yeah. So, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in for the first episode of Nerd Table, where we just basically talk about the franchises, superheroes, DC, Marvel, Star Wars, anything Jurassic World, maybe even horror movies, on what we like. And I had a great time. Did you guys have a great time talking?
Dude,
And I barely talked at all. I was perfectly fine with listening everything. So, but yeah, I had a great time.
I was personally afraid of saying the wrong thing. Yeah, Captain America, remember when he sucks? Oh God, no, please. And just all over it. Like Iron Man, who likes Iron Man? I'm like, oh God. But yeah, I cannot wait for more of these different topics, and I really can't wait for hopefully an Endgame topic because there's a lot of things to say about that movie. But hell yeah, this was
Got
fun.
it.
This was really fun. So yet again, thank you guys for tuning in. This video will be out by Saturday, maybe late Saturday, judging by how long this gets. Even though this is a podcast, so it might be an hour or 2 hours or an hour and 30. There will be another episode soon. We don't know yet. After Saturday, I might be thinking of watching the new Cats movie with a bunch of my friends. Yes, the 2018 one. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, true believers.
Thank you, true believers. And hopefully you agree on what we say. Or maybe if you want to say something, say it in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry for saying that so many times. But I will see you guys in the next video.